students. Let's learn English together. Today we are going to learn how to use the present continuous tense correctly. When using the present continuous tense, many students get confused by the use of the verb be, such as am, is, and are. Sometimes they also forget to add the present participle ing to the main verb that they are using. In this episode, we will look into the important elements when using the present continuous tense. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to describe what the present continuous tense is, illustrate the functions of the present continuous tense, explain the grammatical rules when using the present continuous tense, and lastly, you should be able to use contractions with the present continuous tense. The present continuous tense shows us that an action is continuing or progressing at the time of speaking. The present continuous tense is also known as the present progressive tense. To construct a sentence in the present continuous tense, the verb be is used with the present participle of the main verb. Do you know that the form of the present participle is the base word plus ing? For instance, talk will become talking, walk will become walking, while smile will become smiling. To have a clearer understanding about this rule, let's look at this example. Ning and Ashwin are watching television. In this sentence, the verb be is in the are form, while the word watching is the present participle for the verb watch. This tells us that the action is taking place at the very moment of speaking. There are several situations where we can use the present continuous tense. First, we use the present continuous tense to talk about something that is happening at the moment or time of speaking. In other words, the action has started and is still continuing. For instance,
what are you doing?
I am studying for my exam.
The baby is sleeping.
Look, that magician is walking on water.
We also use the present continuous tense to talk about an action, routine, or habit that is momentary or may not be happening at the moment of speaking. For example,
currently, I am reading a novel by Catherine MacPhail titled Catch Us If You Can.
If you look closely, this sentence does not tell us if the action is actually happening at the moment of speaking. However, we know that the action has already taken place and it may finish at some point in the future.
My cousin is staying with my family until his parents return from Australia.
This sentence describes a temporary action that began at some point in the past and is going on now and will end at a certain time in the future. Audrey and Kelsey are traveling to Pahang by bus. This sentence tells us that traveling by bus may or may not be their usual habit. However, they chose to take the bus for this particular journey. Lastly, we can also use the present continuous tense to talk about future plans. For example,
I am meeting my girlfriend at the mall this evening.
Linda is joining us for dinner tonight.
My grandparents are leaving for Mecca next week.
As previously mentioned in our introduction, we form the present continuous tense with the present tense of the verb be and the ing form of the main verb. In general, we use three forms of the verb be in the present continuous tense, which are am, is, and are. In order to construct a correct sentence in the present continuous tense, these verbs must always agree with the subject in the sentence. This is where mistakes commonly happen among students, especially when they are writing or speaking. For singular pronouns like he, she, or it, we can use the singular verb is to construct a present continuous sentence. We can also use the singular verb is for singular nouns like Li Ming, city, or the boy to write correct present continuous sentences. So when we write our sentences will look like these examples. He is eating nasi lemak. Li Ming is buying vegetables. The boy is listening to music. For plural pronouns like we and they, we can use the plural verb are to construct a present continuous sentence. We can also use the plural verb are for plural nouns like Li Ming and city or the boys to write correct present continuous sentences. So when we write our sentences will look like these examples. We are eating nasi lemak. Li Ming and Siti are buying vegetables. The boys are listening to music. However, this rule doesn't apply to pronouns like I and you. For the pronoun I, we have to use the singular verb am to construct a present continuous sentence. For example, I am eating nasi lemak or I am buying vegetables. While for the pronoun you, we have to use the plural verb are to construct a present continuous sentence. For example, you are eating nasi lemak or you are buying vegetables. We can also use contractions for the verb be when using the present continuous tense. Contractions are a shortened form of a word or group of words, with the missing letters usually marked by an apostrophe. This will transform the combined words into one-syllable words. Contractions are commonly used in speech and colloquial forms of writing. However, this rule is only applicable for the singular or plural pronouns. When the verb is contracted, it will be shortened to apostrophe plus s. For instance, he's eating nasi lemak. She's buying vegetables. It's recording music. On the other hand, when R is contracted, it will be shortened to apostrophe plus R and E. For instance, we're eating nasi lemak. They're buying vegetables. You're recording music. And lastly, when M is contracted, it will be shortened to apostrophe plus M. For instance, I'm eating nasi lemak or I'm buying vegetables. To test your understanding about the grammatical rules for present continuous tense, let's identify some errors from these sentences. The sentences are he are play football and I is writing a novel. Write these sentences in your notebook and try to identify all the errors in these sentences. You can pause the video until you have completed this exercise. In order to identify the errors in these sentences, you have to identify the subject in each sentence first. By doing so, you can easily pinpoint the errors without much effort. You can apply this skill while writing your essay in the future. Well, are you ready? Let's check the answer now. Our first sentence is, he are play football. First, we need to identify the subject. The subject for this sentence is the pronoun he. It's a singular subject. But what about the verb? Can you identify the verb? That is correct. The verb in the sentence is the word play. Now try to compare the subject and the verb be. Can you identify any error? If you look closely, the verb be, are, doesn't match the subject that we should be using. He is a singular subject, so instead of using are, we have to replace the verb be with is. However, this is not the only error in this sentence. Can you identify the second error? Correct. The second error in this sentence is the verb play. As mentioned before, we have to add the ing form to the main verb when we are constructing a present continuous sentence. So the correct sentence will be, he is playing football. Did you answer correctly? Well done! Now let's move to the next sentence. Our second sentence is, I is writing a novel. Before we begin, let's identify the subject in this sentence. The subject in the sentence is the pronoun I. It's a singular subject. But what about the verb be in this sentence? Can you identify them? That is correct. The verb be in this sentence is the word is. Now, try to compare the subject and the verb be in this sentence. Can you identify any error? That's right. If you look closely, the verb is does not match the subject that we should be using. But why? Even though the word I is a singular subject, it is very special. It doesn't follow the same grammatical rule like the other pronouns. So instead of using is, we have to use am as the verb be in the sentence. So the correct answer will be, I am writing a novel. If you answered correctly, then it means you have mastered the present continuous tense. Well done! I hope you have learned new things from this video, and I hope to see you again. Till next time, bye!